What's up, my friends? Today we're going to have a conversation on a category of bait that's really taken off over the last year and a half or so, and that's these finesse subsurface twitch baits. The Megabass Karashi has been the hottest one in the category, but did you know that this is a category of baits that Japan has been producing baits in this category for years and years and years? So today we're going to talk about, of course, the Karashi, what rods to throw, the right way to fish this, give you the full breakdown of this, but we're going to also talk about other baits in this category that maybe you don't know about to kind of expand your tool chest and your arsenal to have more success on the water. So let's have some fun. Here we go, finesse twitch bait convo. Let's go. All right, welcome back, my friends. I am Ben with the Hookup Tackle, the Tackle Otaku on Instagram, being joined by my buddy CJ. CJ, good morning to you.
How's it going, bro?
It's going well. Now, I know usually when you and I are having bait conversations, it's about like 4-ounce and 6-ounce glide baits.
The big stuff.
Right, but this is a category that has been just really a crazy boom.
Yep.
Here in the U.S. over the last, I'm going to say 2 years.
Yeah.
It really started a couple years ago. Japan has made, these small little finesse style baits for many years. And it started, decades ago, but about 10 years ago, the eye motion craze kind of became a thing, which is basically baits that don't do shit.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah,
they just kind of go in a straight line. And in Japan, that's a category of bait that's very, very popular. The fish really react to that style.
Yep.
But never really caught on in the U.S. because our bass, well, they like things that move,
Yeah.
right?
ADHD.
Yes, exactly. So, fast forward to, a couple years ago, this type of, subsurface twitch bait or dog walking bait started to really gain popularity because we always wanted that eye motion size,
Yep.
but we wanted the bait to actually do something.
Yep.
And so a couple years ago, Megabass came out with Karashi. Tactical Bass, and I really credit for kind of blowing this up. They
Yep.
kind of took it under their wing. And if you guys have hung out on YouTube at all over the last year and a half, you've seen Tactical Bass and blow this thing up. We've had a lot of conversation about it. Brandon Polnick's been using it even in Elite Series battles, and he's posted some epic stuff on it. Megabass has posted. So, tons of footage on this Karashi. But the Karashi really owns this category.
Absolutely,
But
yeah.
there's tons of other baits in this category that are really flying under the radar for a lot of guys. So the video for today, the hope is that, we get a breakdown of Karashi a little bit for you in case you guys are new to this bait and you want to learn more about this, but it's also to shed some light on some other products in this category so that if you're using the Karashi, you love this style of fishing, that hopefully this will give you some more tools in your tool chest to catch more fish.
Yeah.
So let's just jump in. Since I'm holding this, let's just start right here.
With the
So
OG. Yes,
what
sir.
is a finesse twitch bait? And we're just making this term up. I don't know that there's an actual specific category name for this bait. But, this is not a jerk bait, right? There's no lip to it. This is not a topwater bait. It sinks. But it is designed to twitch and walk the dog side to side or skip. It kind of fishes, very close to the surface. So a lot of guys consider this a surface style bait or a topwater bait because even though it's sinking as you're twitching it, sometimes it will come up and kind of break the surface and then go back down. So, we're calling it a twitch bait. You're going to twitch it a lot like you would a walking topwater bait or a jerk bait, but it's 100% up to you to impart the action in these baits. Now, think of like a walking topwater bait. Usually you want that bait to have a very fluid, dog walk, a left to right. And that's very easy to achieve on a good one of these baits, but it's not necessarily the most critical thing. So even if you have it going left and right, and then all of a sudden it goes up or goes right, and then back to left, this is that kind of category that the profile is small enough that all you're really doing is trying to mimic a fleeing small prey. Now, the Karashi is 3/16 of an ounce. You're going to be around 5 grams. So this is kind of in that category, I would say, that's right at the edge of bait finesse.
Yep.
Right? It's
Yep.
kind of high on the bait finesse realm, and it's kind of low on the true finesse realm. So it kind of bridges that gap, which is also another interesting thing about this bait, because a lot of guys are having to reassemble gear.
Yep.
Right? This isn't normally a rod that might be in a lot of your arsenal, so we'll break that down and talk about that as well. And of course, there's tons of info on this from those other channels that we talked about too. I'm just going to give you our take on it and let you know what we do. So first off, one little tip. The majority of these are going to come out of the package like this, where there's no split ring on the front. This is a normal thing with most Japanese hard baits, because 99% of Japanese fishermen use a snap. Okay, so I would highly recommend that you give this bait some form of pivot. Okay, some point that allows this to swing, whether it's a snap, a split ring, or a loop knot. If you use a snap, I recommend a size 0 is the best size. You could even get away with a double 0 if you want. If you use a split ring, a size 1 or a size 0 fits it. 1 is perfect on there. So I would go with the size 1 split ring, size 0 snap, and that will just allow that bait to have a little bit more pivot, so as it's twitching side to side, it has the ability to move. Now, another thing to note is these baits are small, right? If you think of a traditional walking bait, like let's say a kick knocker, a Sammy, a gunfish, right? Usually your movement in your pop is like a full movement down in your wrist, because the bait is, 4, 5, 6 inches long. So you need enough pop to get that whole thing to move all the way to the side, to pull it back all the way to the side. This bait is only a couple inches long. Okay, so if you give it too much of a pop, it's either just going to go straight, or it's going to kind of dive, or it's going to just kind of dart off to one side. Okay, so you got to really shorten your movements, right? And tap that slack so that this thing has a chance to really go side to side. So you can overpower and overwork this bait a lot. So calm down. Oops, that one got all over me. We don't need that one anymore. So just relax. Tighten your twitch, right? And just remember that you're fishing a small bait that's only a couple inches long. Now, if you guys are just starting in the Karashi, I guess let me pick that one back. There's a bunch of colors. These are some that I would recommend starting with. I usually like to stay very natural in my baitfish profiles.
The baby Kingio is so sick.
Oh yeah. So GB baby Kingio.
That's how to say it.
See-through shad. Hiuo, something like that would be great. This is juvie gill, which is a great one to imitate like a small bluegill or little baby tilapia. And these are going to be more transparent, more natural. Anytime I'm going downsizing this is more my lane. Now, you guys might be fishing places where they have, I don't know, little baby herring, or just, bait fish that tends to be a little brighter than maybe something more chromy would be good. But anything in this transparent lane is a great place to start. Before we get to baits, let's talk about rods really quick, and then we'll just geek out on baits from here.
Hell yeah.
Give me a second. Okay, so when we're talking about the Karashi, again, we're kind of bridging that gap between finesse and bait finesse. And one thing that is vastly different here in the US than is in Japan is rod lengths.
Yep.
Okay, so a lot of you guys are fishing this thing from a boat in open water. It's proven itself as a highly effective bait in all, water situations. This isn't just something for like little ponds or small little creeks, right? So we have a tendency to think that we need a 7-foot rod. It's like ingrained in us, right? And if a longer rod helps you, then by all means, knock yourself out. I'm going to encourage you the opposite way though. I'm going to encourage you the shorter, the better. Now, if you go too short, you're going to have trouble casting this thing. But these are a couple of rods that I found work perfect for this category of bait. And this is in the Megabass lineup, the Destroyer P5. This is the Pop X stick. So if you're going to do a bait finesse rod, this is the one I would recommend doing for the Karashi. If you prefer spinning, this is the Whippet. Okay, now the Pop X stick is 6'3", the Whippet is 6'6". They're both perfect for that 3/16, basically that 5 to 7 gram, 3/16 to 1/4 ounce, both perfect for that. Do you use spinning? Do you use bait finesse? How do you choose, CJ? Do you care?
I like BFS. bait finesse casting just because it's got a cool factor to it, but sometimes it's easier to throw it on spinning.
I think it's way easier to throw on spinning. It's just if there's a little bit of wind or I need to make a long cast, I don't even have to sweat it. But true, style points to go on the bait finesse, and it is really fun. Here's the reason why I like a shorter rod. Again, getting back to the idea that that bait's only 2 inches. If you're using a 7-foot rod and you're twitching, right, every little movement you make with your rod times 7 feet, right, is moving that rod 3-4 feet at a time.
Yep.
Okay, it might just be a little movement with your wrist, but that rod is going 7 feet away from you. So this little bit of your wrist is actually about 3 foot of movement on the rod. Versus you shrink this down to 6'3", and you do this little bit of movement. Now it's down to about 18 inches of rod. Okay, so you have much better control over your movements, over the ability to get that thing to pop or to walk with a shorter rod.
Yep.
Okay, so for this style bait, I highly recommend the shorter rods. You're gonna get much better control. Now, as we get into some of these other alternatives, some of these alternatives are going to grow in size up to, say, 1/4 ounce, right? Or even 3/8 ounce. If you're gonna jump up into that 1/4 or 3/8 ounce, then I would go to the P5 110 stick. Okay, this is a great one for 1/4 and above. Below 1/4, I'd go with the Pop X stick. Okay, that's kind of my 1-2. If you go above that 1/4 in spinning, the spin border from Raid is money. Okay, these two rods kind of go hand in hand for me. Okay, so, and again, you could go to something like a Windbuster, but then you're jumping to that 7-foot rod. It's just a lot of rod for a bait that's real tiny. Spin border keeps you at 6'5", easy to manipulate.
Yep, yep.
All right, let's geek out on some baits and talk about some alternatives to the Karashi. Now, you guys may not need an alternative. This may just do everything you need it to do. There's a bunch of colors. It works great. Now we're finally getting replacement treble hooks and everything for it. So, you know, you can just live here. But if you wanted to experiment and try some other things, here are some ideas. So we're going to start, we're actually in Megabass. We're going to stay in Megabass for a minute. And we're going to talk about the bait that actually kind of inspired the Karashi, and that's the Coayu slide sinker.
Yep.
Okay, now, within the core is the DogX Junior Coayu. Okay, this is a topwater bait. It is just a really downsized kind of bait finesse, 1/5 of an ounce walking topwater bait. But before this guy was built, this is a Coayu slide sinker. This is a sinking version, okay? And this guy was actually on the market before the Karashi. Now, Megabass doesn't really make this bait anymore, but you can pick it up almost every month in the Megabass Respect series color. They build this bait, okay? And this is basically a sinking version of the DogX. That's designed to walk side to side. So you're going to get that same subsurface kind of twitch movement. Again, I would attach a split ring or a snap or some kind of pivot point up there in the front. But it gives you just a different look. It's going to be a little bit wider, a little bit more aggressive movement, and a little bit more erratic movement than the Karashi. Okay, the Karashi's built flatter, so it's going to have a little bit more horizontal stability. This one is built rounder, so it's going to do all kinds of things. It's going to roll, it's going to pop up and down, but it's going to give you just a different look than what that Karashi is going to give you. And it's going to give you a quieter approach as well. You'll notice that you really don't hear anything other than that hook kind of banging around on there. So sometimes that can be really good. Okay, so there you go. That's from Megabass. That's the Coayu slide sinker. Okay, there's another option. And to spec it, you're going up just about 1.5 grams. So you're getting almost to 7 grams on this one. Okay.
Slept on.
All right, another one that is right in this lane is from Deps, and this is the Deps Wakasagi bait. Now, they also make a floating and a sinking model. This is a great one that was kind of designed to be an eye motion, but it walks incredibly well, especially if you give it a little pivot point. This is probably the closest one to that Karashi that we're going to talk about. Again, you can do the floating version if you want top water, but if you go with that sinking version, then you're basically getting another Karashi version. The Wakasagi bait's going to be longer and skinnier, but kind of in that same weight range. Okay, so you're at 4.3 grams, so you're just a little bit lighter than the Karashi. You've got a different tail back there, so you have a single hook now instead of a double hook. So that tail is going to be more just a mylar esque type tail. And then the one hook in the middle is on a swiveled hook hanger. So even if you hook a big one, it's got a lot of pivot ability to it. So
Kind of prefer that.
yeah, it's a really cool little bait. It's definitely slept on, totally under the radar for the majority of guys, but a really, really cool one. Okay, that's from Deps, the Wakasagi bait. All right, here's one that we've been talking about for a couple years. Some of you guys have gotten on it, but for the majority, it's still super under the radar. And this is from Duo, and this actually comes out of their saltwater line.
Yep.
This is the Bayruf Seek. Okay, now they have multiple sizes of this guy. In my hands is the 68S, which is again going to be right at 7 grams. They have a 68 heavyweight, which is the one I throw the most, which is an 11-gram version. They also took the 85, and which is also going to be in that 11-gram range, but they made it in a bunch of freshwater colors because it was becoming so popular. Okay, so these two, the heavyweight and the 85, you could throw on your 110 stick or your jerkbait rod. When you drop down into the 68S, is going to be more in your finesse category. But basically, it's the same idea as the Karashi. You have a subsurface pencil bait that, again, attach a pivot to it, and it is designed to subsurface walk. Okay, so you give it a twitch, it goes this way, you give it another twitch, it goes this way, and you can basically walk this thing down. This is going to sink much faster than the Karashi. Okay, so sink rate is going to look like something like this on this thing. Okay, so this is going to sink quicker, which will allow you to get it down deeper to fish. It'll allow you to fish below schools. So if you're seeing, you know, bait popping on the surface, you want to get it down below to maybe some different fish down below, or it will allow you to fish it much, much faster. Okay, so the heavier they are, the faster you can go. And if all else fails and you just suck at twitching, you can just take this thing and wind it.
Yep.
Okay, which is an advantage to the Duo over, say, the Karashi. On a straight wind with this thing, it's going to give you kind of an S-seeking kind of swim, and they will eat it on the straight wind as well. Okay, so definitely one worth keeping on your radar. Now, even though it comes from the saltwater line, a lot of the colors transfer over. If you got a saltwater guys, then this is a no-brainer. But you can find a lot of really, really good colors in there. So there you go. There's the Duo Bayruf Seek, or Seek Underwalker, depending on which size you go.
I think that's the most versatile one in the group.
I think so too.
Had a lot of fun days with Griff. Ponds, scoping, open water, bombing casts. It's done it all for us.
It's a cool one.
Yeah.
Really, really cool one. Okay, this next one is maybe slightly off the wall, but this is a category that's really becoming more popular in Japan. They're starting to trickle over here, and that's hard strolling baits. Now, obviously, this is a different category than the Karashi. Karashi is more of a twitch. As we get into these hard strolling baits, these are really designed to stroll left and right. However, even though they are built to stroll, doesn't mean you have to use them to stroll. Okay, you can twitch these, you can jerk these, you can pop these, and the bait is going to give you some different actions. It's going to give you some rolling, it's going to give you some side to side, it's going to give you some up and down. It's going to give you enough erratic action where it really appeals to that kind of fleeing bait fish kind of look. And because the profiles are small, you can get away with it. Right, if you tried to do this on a larger bait, like a 110 or an Edo Shiner, you just try to yank that thing and it's just doing all kinds of crazy shit, they ain't ever gonna bite it.
Yep.
But because these are tiny and they're small, you can kind of get away with it, and it's a really, really fun way to do it. Now, in my hands is from Lucky Craft. This is the FFS Wonder 70. So they built this. Take it out of the package real quick. They built this with kind of forward-facing sonar in mind in Japan. There's a hard bait tournament series where all they do is allow hard baits, probably the most popular circuit in Japan. And so obviously forward-facing sonar and, you know, strolling a minnow or throwing a dice down to them is impossible. So this kind of category of hard strolling baits was born. Now, out of the package, it comes with 3 hooks. You don't need to leave them all on there. If you want to take this bottom one off, really easy to do. If you want to take that top one off, very easy to do. So depending on how you want to use it, you can decide, or just stab the shit out of them. Like, just put a hook in everything. Right. So however you want to do it. But again, this is going to be just under 5 grams. It works great on the stroll, but really if you just kind of twitch it and don't worry so much about that left and right stroll, it has a really good movement. And the Wander series has been around for ages in Lucky Craft. They're one of the first ones to kind of develop this. I mean, I'm thinking back 20 years even. I was throwing the Wander out here in the winter, and it's kind of built like just a hard, almost Senko, where it has that kind of shimmy fall, one of the first hard bait shimmy falls I can think of, and then a twitch is going to have that left and right. So they make this in all kinds of sizes, but the 70 size is going to fit this realm that we're talking about now. Another one is from Duo. This is the Realis Mido Pico. So this again is a bait that was built to be a hard strolling bait, and it works fine as that, but really the category that we're talking about, the twitching it and moving it and getting it to kind of jump and move and slide, is a much more fun category. So for me, it fits better in that category than just the strolling category. But if you wanted to stroll this, you could. It's two different densities of plastics. You got the weighted piece up here, you have a floating piece up here. So even if it sits on the bottom, it's going to rest a little bit tail high. So that's the Mido Pico from Duo. And kind of while we're on this category of strolling, again, this is not necessarily in this twitch category, but it's kind of in that strolling category. And for me, I find that a lot of days when I'm catching them on the Karashi, I'll catch them on the Picro as well. So this is the Picro from OSP. Now they make this in a floating and a super slow sink. Floating is going to be a top water bait. The super slow sink is going to be more in this Karashi category. Basically, it's built with a lip on the top, so all the action's kind of built in. You don't really have to twitch this thing. This is just a throw and just kind of slow speed wind, and it's just going to have a built-in kind of flash to it as it swims through the water. Really, really good bait. And then finally from OSP is the Bent Minnow 76. Now this is a floating bait, but it really doesn't fish at the top. It's kind of a twitch bait more than it is a topwater, because as you twitch it, it's going to dive or it's going to move basically whichever direction it's pointed.
Yeah.
Right? So there's not really, I mean, who knows where it's going to go, actually. So the Bent Minnow is kind of a curved minnow shape. So if it's floating on the water like this and you jerk it, it's going to go subsurface, right? But then if it kind of floats up this way and you jerk again, it's going to go this way. It's going to go left, right, up, down. You know, it's going to do all kinds of different things, which is basically the category that we're talking about. This puts you in a very similar size, a little bit longer. Same basic weight, you're 4.5 grams. So you're in a very similar category. This is going to be a more stable left and right movement. This is going to be a more erratic kind of jumping around everywhere, but works great again in that kind of subsurface to surface lane. Okay, there you go. All right, and that is a wrap. There's a look at quite a few different options in that category. And again, you guys may end up just saying, you know, hey, screw it. I've got the Karashi. It's all I need for this category, and there's nothing wrong with that. You can play with colors. You can play with different retrieves. But if you want to try some different baits, we'll put the links to these other baits down below. You guys can check them out. It might be worth experimenting if this is a category of bait that you guys use a lot, which I know it is for us. Anytime they're feeding on tiny shad, I mean, even now we're in, you know, kind of middle of fall, and so much of the bait we're seeing is like half an inch big, right? It's almost like post-spawn sized bait. It's just everywhere. Like the other day, we're throwing, you know, big glide baits, and there's all this shad schools, and all the shad are, you know, half an inch. Like, okay, well, you know, we ain't gonna catch anything on these things. Whereas you could downsize something like this and have some amazing days and amazing time on the water. So if you guys have any questions, hit me up. You can drop a question down below. You can find me on Instagram. Happy to dive down any rabbit holes. CJ will put links down there. And on behalf of myself and CJ and everybody here at the Hookup Tackle Guys, thank you for watching these videos. Thank you for your support. Thank you for your business. Have fun in this category. It's a really, really fun category. If you're not using it now, I think you'll find that you're going to land a lot of fish with this downsize twitch bait. And it's fun to fish finesse. So until next time, it's peace for now. I will see you guys again very soon. Later.
See ya.